I'm Paulina Martina and I'm an XR specialist. At Willem de Koning, I teach Clo 3D and digital fashion. For the research part, we wanted to introduce the students with different digitalization tools that brought them closer to the other. As part of their interview, they went to a location where they would be able to observe the environment of the other, but also scan it. This is to help them become more critical on how they apply the tools within their creative process. Once they have been able to scan the environment, sometimes the other, which is the person representing their research group, and objects that are important to the concept, the next step was to bring them back to the lab. Once the students brought their work to the lab, we taught them how to clean up the files, how to prepare them, in order to be able to bring them into Blender initially, and then into Clo 3D. The goal is to give them a better understanding on how to create a proper workflow that helps them bring their concepts throughout the whole system of digital tools. So the first step was to help create a digital twin of the other. For this, we used different tools. First, we applied Blender because we wanted to give some creative flexibility on how to go about the rigging. So that means the bone structure of the avatar, the positioning, the body. Secondly, we went to Clo 3D. And here it was also possible to make alterations with AI, working with textures, with different materials, but also think about body sizing and how that fits within that spectrum. This was important because not all fit the same, and we want to give the students the options and the tools how to work with that. We focus mostly on texturing, posing, and the materials applied to the avatars. For the environment, we understand that we are, in this case, focusing on fashion design, and that the development in 3D might not be the most specific skill for the students. So we made sure to be able to simplify the process by allowing them to bring their scans into 3D in different ways. The first way was to be able to apply the 3D environment and clean it from Blender to Clo, but we also made it possible to make a mesh, so an environment around you, which could be brought into Clo in the form of an HDRI, supporting their storytelling in combination of importing 3D objects that could also embellish further the environment. As we understand that it is a lot of technical capabilities to cover over a whole semester and even throughout the years, we tried to give it in different chunks. For this time, we wanted to show the students the basic skills to animate a character in Blender. For this, they were able to use their own character and apply an animation using a tool, for example, as Mixamo, bring it into Blender, animate the character, and bring it into Clo. That was the first way. The second way would be to have their custom avatar in Clo, either edited in Blender or in Clo, and then apply standardized animations, but that they could also hack and change. And lastly, we did something we haven't done before, which was to use the Clo camera to also add live and more activity into each set. This is what they then brought together into a final concept. A learning point that I also got as feedback from the students is that I think showing them how you can go deeper into the project can be very helpful. Like understanding why you're doing something. If there's not a good communication on the why, they don't really feel motivated on the how and to take next steps. So I think communication throughout the whole process is very important because then they feel less overwhelmed. And then they're also better able to share their findings and better able to process their progress. Some of the key takeaways I had in this course with the students was they weren't much more open actually to learning about digital tools, but it was also very scary to them. And as I was mentioning, we were trying to make smaller chunks and more digestible, which I think was helpful, but it is still a lot of tools at the same time. So I think it was good that we were able to put more of the process within one tool which in this case was Clo. We showed them how to animate, how to create a scene, and then they learned to make it at a more of a beginner level or more conceptual. Gives them more space to think creatively. But then when it comes to other projects in the future, then they have now the basic on how to make an animation, on how to adapt an avatar, how to set up a scene, which will help them in the future to make other projects and bigger productions if you're thinking about going to Blender or really making a 3D environment. But it was very important to communicate to them that we understand that's not their main focus, but if you know better how things work in the future when you work with a team, you know what to prepare, you know what is asked from you, but also what to deliver.